Republican strategist Lester Munson is with us, principal of the international practice at BGR Group, and Democratic strategist Jamie Jackson is with us, former senior counsel to House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, the founder of Vantage Global Media. Lester, Jamie, great to see you both, and welcome. I'll start with you, Lester, as the Republican, and your thoughts on the effectiveness of this dialogue that the president's been having about communism. Does this bring people out to vote in November?
Well, I think so. Yeah, it does, Joe. For one thing, now we're talking about whether the Democrats are communists or democratic socialists or what that means. Do they want to seize the means of production or not? That's a good question for Trump and the Republicans, for voters to be asking, even if the answer is, well, they're not actually communists. They're just some kind of weird version of socialism. Then that's good for Republicans. I think that'll get out the vote. Of course, it is in the grand Trump tradition, a little bit of an overstatement, to be fair to the Democrats, but it's his way of surfacing the issue and getting people to talk about it. And here it is working.
Is it working, Jamie, for Democrats who are trying to project themselves as a more moderate alternative to some of the self-described socialist Democrats, or does this unify the Democratic Party as the lines are drawn by the President of the United States?
I think this unifies the party, and I also think voters are going to be able to see through this divisive rhetoric. This is nothing more than a Hail Mary attempt by the president to divert from the failed policies of the first half of his administration. This was really a wasted opportunity for the president to unify the country at the 250-year anniversary of this great nation. And I really think that his dangerous rhetoric about communism was a real waste of time. It's one thing to not agree with progressive policies, but to equate Medicare for all and other progressive policies with communism, I think is very dangerous and divisive.
The president said the Communist Party is made up of illegal immigrants, criminals, and everybody that doesn't want to work, which I understand the image that he's trying to create here. But of course, there is no Communist Party really that we're talking about here, right, Lester? I mean, illegal immigrants, criminals, and everybody that doesn't want to work. Is he basically saying that's what the Democrat Party is?
Well, it sure seems like it. Yeah, I think we're at kind of peak negative rhetoric now. And Jamie's not wrong. It would be nice to see people rise above partisanship, particularly on the 4th of July, celebrating our 250th anniversary. We should all be grateful, in my view, to be Americans. We live in a wonderful place with a lot of freedoms, and celebrating that seems like something that should be nonpartisan. However, the president, and leading Democrats all took this as an opportunity to advance their political talking points over the weekend. I think most Americans tuned out the whole thing and focused on the fireworks and the hot dogs and whatever else they might have been doing with their families. And we'll see this kind of surge up again probably after Labor Day when the campaign gets going in full. Democrats do have a problem here with, I think, some very out of touch nominees in a lot of places. Republicans will try to nationalize that and go to middle America and say the Democrats want to take us in this extreme direction. Democrats will push back and say, no, our focus is still on you, mainstream America. So that'll be where the real battle is, I suspect, come September.
Well, it's been an interesting battle just in Michigan itself. And Jamie, we had a pretty important development that a lot of people woke up to this morning in State Senator Mallory McMorrow's decision to drop out of the Democratic Senate primary. This is someone, and she's been on this program before, who was identified several years ago by Democrats as a star, as one of the future celebrities in the party. And at one point, it was foregone that she was going to win this thing and run against whomever would be the Republican, which we now know will be Mike Rogers. But then, of course, we had an establishment candidate in Haley Stevens jump into the race, and we had a progressive Democrat in Abdu El Sayed. All three of them have been on this program and have talked about their values here. And this was going to be one of the most expensive, and still may be, knockdown, drag-out Democratic primaries in the country. Jamie, what does it tell us about the current state of Democratic politics when there was no middle lane for a Mallory McMorrow in Michigan?
I think McMurrow exiting this race won't move the needle too much. Again, as you mentioned, here you have another proxy matchup between the Democratic establishment and the more progressive wing. Stevens has gotten the endorsements from Schumer, former Speaker
Mm-hmm.
Pelosi, and other leaders in the party. And El Sayed has received endorsements from Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, and other more progressive leaders. We've seen this matchup in Colorado, New York, and other states. So I think
Yeah.
this is an ongoing kind of tension that we're seeing. But ultimately, I think voters really just want somebody who's going to fight for their priorities. This is another must win state, Michigan, and I think Democrats have another real chance to hold on to the state.
It's interesting. McMorrow did not even give a reason for suspending her campaign. In fact, almost made it sound like she was launching one. Quote, I'm not going anywhere. I hope you'll join me, unquote. What's that, Jamie? What do you think she does
I'm
next?
sorry. She had been trailing in the polls. I don't think she really broke out
Yeah.
of single digits recently. And there's this important primary that's coming up tomorrow, and I'm assuming she made a calculated decision to just step aside.
What do you make of this, Lester? Does this fulfill the exact point that the president was making?
Well, perhaps. I mean, it kind of gives a little more energy to it. I think her dropping out helps El Sayed quite a bit. That's what my Michigan sources are telling me. El Sayed will have a tougher time in the general in all likelihood. So this is probably good news for Mike Rogers and good news for Republicans who are looking to keep a hold of at least the Senate in November. I mean, the Democrats have there's I think the real story here is there's a real debate going on inside the Democratic Party about the future direction, which way they're going to go. There is a very vocal and effective minority that wants to go to the far left. The leadership of the party wants to kind of keep to the moderate left, and they're losing that battle in race after race in these primaries. We're seeing something play out before us that we probably last saw during the Tea Party movement back in 2009 and 2010. So this is, I think, is a very significant development for American politics.
This is really interesting. I'm not sure where we're going to go from here in the general, Jamie, but I'd love your thought on who is a more effective candidate to beat a Republican like Mike Rogers. Is it the establishment-backed Haley Stevens with the experience, the money, the backing of Chuck Schumer? Or is it the progressive Abdul El Sayed with the endorsements and the energy that you mentioned?
Well, first, let me say, I think it's a bit overblown to suggest that this is some type of Democratic civil war. Back in 2018, a young woman by the name of Alexandria Ocasio Cortez defeated a 10-term incumbent who was the current Democratic caucus chair. And while there was some concerns originally about assimilation into the party with the establishment of other progressive members of the caucus. Ultimately, she worked very closely with Pelosi and my former boss, Leader Hoyer, to pass some bipartisan legislation here. The Democratic Party is much more heterogeneous and can typically absorb a lot of various factions, unlike Republicans who saw the Tea Party wave come in and then the institutionalization of the Freedom Caucus, which led to the ouster of Speaker Kevin McCarthy and has caused a lot of trouble for Mike Johnson. So I think the Democrats have a better ability to kind of absorb some of these diverse perspectives in the party.
Just about 30 seconds left, Lester. Who would you rather run against as a Republican?
El Sayed, for sure. I think he's said some things that are pretty provocative, that are going to be hard to defend in a general election. I think Mike Rogers' campaign is actually pretty happy right now.
Fascinating. Lester Munson and Jamie Jackson will be back in our second hour. Kaylee Lyons is on the way into the studio.